What's going on, everyone? Welcome back for another episode of Rate My Portfolio. Today, we're going to be looking at the portfolio of Steve. Steve submitted this last week, and there's some very interesting details about this smaller portfolio, but that's okay. Some of you guys do need to see how to invest $5,000 right now, and in today's video, we're going to be covering how I would approach changing up and rating Steve's portfolio of $5,000. Just where can it get to in the bull market? With that said, make sure if you enjoy these videos to smash the like button and hit subscribe. But first, we got to roll the intro. All right, just a reminder, everybody, that these Rate My Portfolio videos are not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but this is an educational and entertaining video series to help kind of teach people how to think through arranging their portfolios with different sizes. Steve does not have to take any of the advice I have in this video. And ultimately, I'm not giving the advice as much as I'm saying, if it was my money, if this was my portfolio, here is how I would move it around and change it so that it does the most for me. That being said, though, we're going to be judging on 5 criteria as always, although along with all of the recent chaos in the markets, 2 of my criteria I'm going to hold to a little less standard, give a lot more grace here as the markets have dropped substantially. But that being said, we're going to get into those 5 different criteria. Of course, as always, it's going to be coin selection, goals for your portfolio, diversification, niche split, and risk to reward ratio. If you guys are ready for it, let's go ahead and dive on in and look at Steve's portfolio. Like I said, this is a $5,000 portfolio, so not necessarily huge, but still a great starting place for anyone who's newer to crypto investing. I'm going to talk about the coin selection here and going to give a really good score here. In fact, Steve's going to get a 10 because there's only 5 coins in this portfolio, which is very nice and simple. And all 5 are coins that I would personally not only hold, but recommend other people to hold as well. His 5 coins are Bitcoin, Solana, XRP, Ethereum, and Sui. 5 phenomenal coins. It's going to give us some trouble later in different ratings, but for this one, 5 great coins. This gets a perfect 10 for coin selection. I wouldn't get rid of any of these. Let's move on to criteria number 2, the goals. Now, to talk about the goals here, I'm going to give a slightly lower score, but this is especially something that I would say you don't have to take my advice on this. And even Steve, I might be a little more risky than Steve, but if he wants to keep this goal, good for him. The goal he gave me when he messaged me was that he wanted to see this portfolio of 5,000 3 to 5x by the end of this bull market. And then realistically, actually wants to hold on to this for more like 5 to 10 years potentially and use it at least as a down payment on a house. That being said, I can tell you, depending on how things play out, I'm going to give you some price prediction areas later on in the video. I do think that Steve can accomplish his personal goals. Myself, though, if I'm looking at only a $5,000 portfolio, 3 to 5x, that leaves a little bit to be wanted. I really think we could push for a closer to 10x goal. And for that reason, again, no one has to take this advice. If you want to use $5,000 and only get a 3 to 5x, it's going to be easy to do. I'm going to give him a 6, not quite a passing grade, but not a terrible one either, because he's going to accomplish what he's asking for. Now let's move into criteria number 3, diversification. He's going to get a good score on this one as well. Let's get into the details of the coins he's holding. I actually really like the split from a percentage standpoint. He has roughly $1,600 in Bitcoin right now. That's about 0.01999 Bitcoin. He has 7 Solana currently worth somewhere around $1,000. He has 509 XRP worth $1,100. He has 0.383 Ethereum worth $880. And then he has 136 Sui worth roughly $384. So in a normal portfolio, those are actually pretty even splits for diversification. But I will say, with it being so small, there would be some changes I would make in terms of maybe not holding the most in Bitcoin, getting a little more aggressive, and maybe raising Sui up a little bit. Of these 5 coins, the first 4, Bitcoin, Solana, XRP, and Ethereum, as solid as they are, they're already so strong from a market cap perspective. They're going to have some of the smaller gain potentials when it's all said and done. So for that reason, I really do think that you really should be stretching to go a little bit higher. And for that, you got to hold a little bit more SUI, and potentially, as we'll talk about later, maybe add in some other coins with greater potential here. So for diversification, he's going to get a good score of 8 because it is a healthy split. I'm just docking him 2 points because with this small of a portfolio, I myself would get a little riskier and allocate more into SUI, a little less in Bitcoin. But with that said, let's move on to criteria number 4, and that's going to be niches. Now, there's 5 niches that I recommend people holding. It's going to be layer 1s, real-world assets, ISO 222 tokens, AI, and DPIN. With the chaos of the market, I want to be very clear here. I'm going to give a score here, but don't take this one too seriously because in this chaos, bringing your coin selection down and not hitting all of these isn't the worst thing in the world. That being said, let's go through what he has. When it comes to layer 1s, my man Steve is settled. He's got 4 great layer 1 solutions in Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and SUI. The biggest reason he's going to get a lower score on this one is because I'm okay with missing out on the AI and the DPIN plays, right? That's okay to me. The problem, though, is I still believe real-world assets are going to be probably the largest moving niche in this bull market once we resume institutional buying. So for that reason, having no real-world asset play here, like a Chainlink or an Ondo or AVAX, that's going to bring his score down. He does have an ISO 222 token in XRP. He has no AI or DPIN. But honestly, even though I think that it's wise to have some exposures there, I'm not going to dock him too much for AI or DPIN. But not having a real-world asset token, I am going to bring his score down to a 6. I think a big change here would just be adding in one more coin and making it a good one like Ondo or Chainlink. We'll talk about that, though, just a little bit later. Let's move on to criteria number 5, and that's going to be risk to reward. He's got to get a 10 here. He has to get a 10 with that 3 to 5x goal for the short-term bull market, but more wanting to hold this portfolio for 9, 10 years and buy a house. I think that my man Steve is definitely going to be able to accomplish that. And for that, it's time to get into the price predictions of where I think this portfolio can get to, and then maybe what are some changes I would make if we want to try to make a little bit more money. Now, normally I talk about a disappointing bull market, a conservative, realistic bull market, and then a moon boy bull market. But for today, I'm going to show you what I think a disappointing or low-end bull market could be in this bull market, what I think the realistic target is, and then instead of the moon boy potential, I'm going to talk about where we could be in 2030 to 2035 range so that Steve can see what he might have to go to a down payment on a house. Let's start off with the low section. Last week, I didn't give you all the numbers, but today, since it's only 5 coins, we're going to go through all of the levels. Bitcoin, I believe, can get to $150,000. That's going to bring his total of Bitcoin holdings up to just under $3,000 of Bitcoin. Solana in a low and disappointing bull market could hit $400 still. Again, bringing him right around $3,000. XRP in a disappointing bull market, I still believe hit $6, giving us, again, $3,000 of XRP. Ethereum, I still think can make its way to $7,000, being about $2,600. And then SUI could make its way up towards $20, around a $2,700 holding for SUI. This would bring his total to $14,413. Not quite the 3x, but again, this was a disappointing bull market. So getting almost at 3x, I think, is a good play for him right now. But again, this doesn't really matter because he wants to hold this longer term. I'll get to that price prediction here in just a little bit. But where do I realistically see this portfolio being at the end of this bull market? At this point, probably not the end of 2025, probably sometime 2026 or 2027. I still see Bitcoin getting over $200,000, being worth about $4,000 in his portfolio. I see Solana getting up towards $1,300, giving him $9,600. I see XRP up at $12, giving him $6,100. Ethereum up at $15,000, giving him $5,700 in the portfolio. And SUI all the way up at $50, giving him $6,800. $3,800, bringing us to a total of $32,271, exceeding his 3 to 5x goals for the bull market. But what about longer term predictions? And honestly, I'm going to give you guys some rough numbers. It's so hard to predict even the end of this bull market, but even harder to say where could we be somewhere in the 2030 to 2035 range. But I'm going to give you some levels and some things to think about as far as where I think these assets could be. Bitcoin, for example, I very much believe by this time will be over $1 million. But let's just put it right at $1 million. And this would mean his current holding would get him to about $19,900. Let's just call it $20,000. For Solana, I believe Solana could make its way up to $6,000 per coin in the next 5 to 10 years, giving him $44.4 thousand there. XRP, I could see hitting $70 per coin, giving him $35,600. Ethereum, I could see getting up over $30,000, giving him $11,400. And Sui, the biggest gainer of them all, I could see getting up to $150 per coin, bringing his total up to $20,400, or a total of $131,900 in this portfolio. That is more than enough to put a good down payment on a house. But now we get into the details here of where I think you could improve this portfolio, Steve. And if it was mine, what I would do to maximize it. I'm not going to tell you to get rid of all of your Bitcoin because Bitcoin is still king of crypto. And I believe the end goal of every crypto holder should be to stack Satoshis, and altcoin investments is the best way to do that. That being said, because the portfolio is smaller and roughly about $5,000 right now, I do think that we should take a look at maybe taking some of that money out, bringing that level down to maybe your smallest holding, and definitely getting a coin like Sui up to being one of your top holding coins. If you looked at the different things we did at the time of making this video, Sui is at $2.83. I believe it realistically could still do more than a 20x in this bull market, and then potentially somewhere in the world of a 60x by the time we get to 10 years down the road. That means it's going to have the greatest growing potential. I also would look to invest in coins in other niches. For example, real-world asset space. Chainlink and Ondo are absolute home winners. I would urge you to choose at least one of these. And maybe not right now in this time, but I do think between now and the next 10 years, you should be looking to expose yourself to the AI space as well, as both crypto and AI are the future of how our world will operate. So getting in on a coin like Render or Near or FET, this would be a very good asset as well. But I'm sure that between now and then, you're going to come into some more money. So a simple thing you can do right now to maximize this investment is also just continue to DCA into this investment, and we'll have way more than just $130,000 for you to buy your house in the next 5 to 10 years. With that said, though, that's all I have for you in this video. Steve and everybody else, let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like and hit subscribe. If you want to submit your own portfolio for us to review in one of these videos, make sure to check out our free Discord and create a ticket in there, submitting your portfolio and all the details we need. With that said, I'll see you in the next one. Adios. Well, looky there, you made it to the end of the video. That means you either really liked it or really hated it. And either way, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments down below, because it really does help us create better content for you, the viewers. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to check out our channel, because we have a lot of content just like this as we seek to help educate every single person on how to actually create financial freedom for themselves and their families. But to make sure that you see those videos, hit that subscribe button and like all of our content, as it really does help us out. If you want to go a step further and connect with the bros even more, make sure to check out our free Discord down below, where the chat never stops and you'll be surrounded by a community of people just like you who want to better themselves. Go ahead and click on it. We'll see you in the next one.